Priya Parmar's biographical novel, The Original, takes a look at the life of screen legend Katharine Hepburn. And she's joining us now on the Fox Local Book Club. Thanks for being here.
Thanks for having me.
So why Katharine Hepburn? What drew you to her story?
I've always loved her, and I was watching Philadelphia Story with my mom, and this was years ago, and she said, this was her comeback movie. And I was really surprised because in my mind, Katharine Hepburn had never had anything to come back from. She had always existed, never making a misstep, always being, 10 steps ahead of anyone. So it was a process of kind of falling down a rabbit hole and starting the research and then just falling madly in love with this part of her life that I didn't know anything about.
And probably a lot of people didn't know a lot about either. How would you describe the book? Biographical fiction or is it all real life? How do you describe it?
It's definitely fiction. I mean, the events are all true, but all of those emotional, moral, all of those decisions, all of those layers, all of that sediment underneath, that's all fiction, because I don't think you can ever really know, what was happening in private. So it's very much fiction.
So at the beginning, you anchor a young Kate, her drive and protective armor to a childhood tragedy. She lost her brother. How did that shape her life moving forward?
Well, that was something that I didn't know anything about. I didn't really understand that, to be such a seminal event in her life. But she found him, he had committed suicide. And the fact that really stayed with me when I was researching it and I was reading, the police reports and things like that, is that, his feet were on the floor and he could have stopped it at any time. And so just what drove him to that and what that must have been like for her to discover that, because she's the one who found him. And I think if you realize that life is, finite at such a early age, she was 13 years old.
Wow. I
think it shapes your life in so many ways going forward. And I think it really, and this was her closest person in the world to her,
So from the outside, she was such a star, it probably looked like she just had the perfect life. But 1930s, Hollywood was an era of really manufactured illusions. And your novel portrays Kate as someone just who refused to play by all of the rules. What kind of resistance did she face from the powerful studio heads?
Oh, I think they had several sort of kind of faux biographies about her that they were putting out, and she really was resisting all of them. And then she, they put pressure on her to get a divorce from the man that she was secretly married to that they didn't know about. There was another love affair that I believe that she was having with a woman who I think there was enormous pressure. As the 1930s went on, scrutiny, the stars came under more and more scrutiny as something called the production code came into play. And they, really had been able to live much more freely before this. But as, you get later into the 1930s, I think she came under huge pressure to create a kind of a perfect image, which she really was not happy about. And it led to her being, really villainized by the press.
Well, Priya, we have so much more to ask you, but we have run out of time, so I'm going to tell people where they can find your book. And thanks so much for joining us.
Thank you so much. Thank you for having me.
You can find The Original on Amazon or your local bookstores, and you can follow Priya at priyaparmar.net.